In a small, quiet town, there lived a family. The father, Raju, was a kind man, but he held a deep wish in his heart. He wanted a son. He believed a son would carry the family name forward, like a strong pillar supporting a house. His wife, Meena, was a gentle soul who filled their home with love and warmth. They already had a lovely daughter named Priya, whose laughter was like the sound of ankle bells. But for Raju, the family picture felt incomplete. He often looked at other families with sons and felt a pang of longing, a quiet ache that he could not explain. This desire was not born of malice, but from old stories and traditions passed down through generations, whispers that said a son was a necessity, a treasure. Every evening, after a long day at his shop, Raju would come home and his eyes would search for something that wasn't there. He would play with Priya, lifting her high in the air, but his joy was always mixed with a shadow of disappointment. He dreamed of teaching a son how to run the shop, how to be the head of the family one day. He saw a son as a future support, a strong branch for him to lean on in his old age. This constant, unspoken wish created a heavy silence in their home. It was a weight that Meena felt every single day, a pressure that settled upon her shoulders like a thick, invisible shawl, making it hard for her to breathe freely and be truly happy. Meena tried her best to make her husband see the joy they already had. She would point out how clever Priya was, how she could already count the coins from the shop's register with her tiny fingers. She would say, "Look at our daughter. She has your eyes and your quick mind. She is a blessing." But Raju would only smile faintly, his thoughts drifting back to his desire for a son. The traditions he had grown up with were like a strong river, and it was difficult for him to swim against the current. He loved his daughter, of course, but the idea that a family was only complete with a boy was a deep-rooted belief that clouded his vision and prevented him from fully appreciating the wonderful family he already possessed. The pressure was not just from Raju, it came from the world outside their four walls. Relatives would visit and ask with concern in their voices, "When will you have a son?" Neighbors would offer unsolicited advice and prayers. All these words, meant to be helpful, were like little stones thrown at Meena's heart. They made her feel as if she had failed in some important duty. She began to feel that her worth as a wife and a woman was being measured by her ability to bear a son. This constant judgment from society, combined with her husband's quiet yearning, made their happy home feel like a place of expectation and silent blame, where the laughter of their daughter was not enough to fill the void. Meena carried her sadness quietly, like a secret she could share with no one. She often found herself standing by the window, watching Priya play in the garden, and tears would well up in her eyes. She felt a deep sense of injustice. Why was she being blamed for something she had no control over? It was as if the gender of her child was a reflection of her own value. The unspoken accusations in the eyes of her relatives and the sad sighs of her husband made her feel small and powerless. She loved her husband and her daughter dearly, but this constant, gentle pressure was slowly chipping away at her spirit, leaving her feeling isolated and misunderstood in her own home. The blame was never spoken aloud in harsh words, but it was present in 1,000 small ways. It was in the way Raju would fall silent when friends boasted about their sons. It was in the sympathetic looks from older women in the market. Each of these moments was a small prick to her heart. Meena felt as if she was walking on a path full of sharp stones. She began to doubt herself, wondering if she was somehow lacking. This self-doubt was a heavy burden to carry, and it made her feel tired all the time. She wanted to shout that it was not her fault, that a daughter is a joy, but the words would get stuck in her throat, silenced by years of tradition and expectation. She remembered the day Priya was born. The moment she held her tiny daughter in her arms, her heart had filled with a love so immense it felt like the sky. But she also remembered the look of faint disappointment on Raju's face. That memory was a constant source of pain. How could the birth of such a beautiful, healthy child be seen as anything less than a miracle? She felt a fierce need to protect her daughter from this unfair world, a world that might one day judge her for simply being a girl. Meena's tears were not just for herself, but for her daughter, and for all the daughters who were not celebrated as they should be. In her moments of solitude, Meena would talk to the stars. She would ask them why the world was made this way. Why was a boy seen as an asset and a girl as a liability? It was a question with no easy answer. This feeling of being unfairly blamed is a heavy cross for many women to bear. It is a silent suffering that happens in many homes, behind closed doors. It is a sadness that steals the joy from motherhood and replaces it with a feeling of inadequacy. Mina's story is the story of countless women who are made to feel responsible for the gender of their children, a burden that no woman should ever have to carry. It is important to understand a simple truth that science has taught us. The responsibility for determining the gender of a child does not lie with the mother alone. In fact, it is a beautiful partnership between both parents, a secret code written in the very building blocks of life. A woman carries only one type of chromosome, which we call X. A man, however, carries two different types, X and Y. The gender of the baby is decided by which of the man's chromosomes joins with the mother's. It is a game of chance and natural lottery, and it is something that neither the mother nor the father can control. Blaming a woman for not having a son is like blaming the rain for not being sunny. Think of it like this. Imagine the mother has a bag full of only red marbles. The father has a bag with both red and blue marbles. When they create a child, the mother always contributes a red marble. The father, however, might contribute a red marble or a blue one. If he gives a red marble, the result is a girl. If he gives a blue marble, the result is a boy. You see, the mother's contribution is always the same. The determining factor comes from the father. To blame the mother is not only unfair and unkind, but it is also based on a complete lack of understanding of how our bodies work. It is an old, incorrect idea that has caused too much pain for too long. This scientific fact is not new, but old traditions often have strong roots that are hard to pull out. People continue to believe these old tales because it is what their grandparents and great-grandparents believed. But we live in a time of knowledge and learning. We have the power to replace ignorance with understanding. It is our duty to share this simple scientific truth with kindness and patience. We must explain to our elders, our friends, and our neighbors that blaming a woman is wrong. It is time to let go of these baseless beliefs and embrace the light of knowledge, which tells us that both parents play an equal and vital role in the miracle of creation. When we understand this simple science, the entire blame game falls apart. It becomes clear how deeply unfair it is to make a woman feel guilty or inadequate. It is a form of cruelty born from ignorance. Spreading this knowledge can free women like Mina from their silent suffering. It can lift the heavy weight of blame from their shoulders and allow them to enjoy motherhood without fear or shame. Education is the key. When families understand that the gender of a child is a matter of nature and science, not a matter of a woman's worth, they can begin to heal and build a foundation of true equality and mutual respect, celebrating every child, boy or girl, as the unique gift they are. In a garden, do we only value the rose and not the jasmine? No. Every flower has its own beauty, its own fragrance, its own special place. A family is just like that garden. Both sons and daughters are precious flowers that make the family beautiful and complete. A daughter brings a different kind of strength, a different kind of joy. She is the one who often holds the family together with threads of love and care. She can be a friend to her mother, a guide to her siblings, and a pillar of support for her parents in their old age, just as a son can. To think that one is more valuable than the other is to misunderstand the very meaning of family. Think of the great women who have changed the world. Think of scientists, leaders, artists, and doctors who were once little girls. When a girl is loved, supported, and given the same opportunities as a boy, she can achieve anything. She can fly planes, run countries, and discover new medicines. Kalpana Chawla flew to the stars, and Indra Nooyi led a global company. These women were once daughters in families who believed in them. When we invest in a daughter, we are not just investing in one person. We are investing in the future of an entire family and community. A supported daughter becomes an empowered woman who uplifts everyone around her. Changing these deep-rooted ideas is a journey that starts in our own homes. It begins when a father like Raju decides to see the treasure he already has in his daughter. It starts when a family celebrates the birth of a girl with the same joy and enthusiasm as the birth of a boy. We must change our language and our actions. We can tell our children stories of brave and intelligent women. We can encourage our daughters to dream big and our sons to respect and value girls as their equals. Change does not happen overnight. It happens one family at a time, one conversation at a time, until the light of equality shines in every home. The message of hope is simple. Love every child for who they are. A child's gender does not determine their worth. Their value lies in their heart, their mind, and their potential to do good in the world. Let us build families where every child, boy or girl, is given the same love, the same encouragement, and the same chances to shine. Let us break the chains of bias and create a world where daughters are not just tolerated, but are cherished, celebrated, and seen as the precious, powerful, and essential gifts that they truly are. When we do this, we are not just building stronger families. We are building a better, kinder, and more just world for everyone.